It's Monday.
It's 8 p.m.
It's the Monday assessment.
Up the gills.
And your people gather round your town when things are on the up or things are falling down. Celebrate the hard times, stay passionate through the lows, find strength in the chaos, no matter which way it goes. It's not easy being blue. Heartbreak comes in many ways, the hardest times, the darkest days, but all these things get washed away with us, with us. The highs might not come every day, but memories do, and memories stay. Enjoy that moment anyway with us, with us, with us. It's not easy being blue. It's not easy being blue.
Saturday at Priestfield, the Gills delivered a thrilling 2-2 draw against Crawley, a match that had everything. Goals, drama, and at least 3 people around me claiming loudly that they could have scored that. Gillingham took the lead, lost the lead, grabbed it again, lost it again. It was basically the football equivalent of trying to hold a bar of soap whilst in the shower. But hey, 4 goals, entertainment, and nobody cried. Well, at least not publicly anyway. So grab a tea, take a deep breath, and let's unpack whatever that rollercoaster was. This is the Monday assessment by the View from the Medway Fancast, in partnership with Gillingham FC Supporters Club, Sports Social Podcast Network and Her Game 2, and sponsored by Snodhurst Used Car Sales and Service Station and Wicked Creative. I'm joined this evening by Mr. Mike Gammon and Dave. We are expecting James, but apparently he's having a few IT issues at the moment. Don't know what they are, but I'm
Pay your
sure
broadband, James. Pay your broadband. Don't be
Yeah.
skint like Warren.
So, gents, how are we?
All good.
All good, mate.
All good, mate. So, before we do get on, I do want to quickly say a big congratulations this evening to former Gills player Lee Martin, who's become the permanent manager at Ramsgate. So, well done for that, Lee. That's pretty much it for now. We will hopefully get James in the picture soon enough, because it's quite embarrassing if you got a man of the match award on there before. But before we get into the views news, we will go on to our Guess Who this week. And in no particular order, this player played. Oh, he's here. Here he is. Is he coming on? Device not connected. Okay. Right, anyway, this player in no particular order played for Scunthorpe, Gillingham, Tottenham, Portsmouth, and AFC Wimbledon. So you guys don't get involved with that just yet. We'll move on to it at the end of the show. But if you do want to get involved, guys, drop your comments in and who you think that this player is. So, yeah, with that, I'll pass it over to David and we'll get into the views news.
Thank you very much. We're going to start with the Virtue Trophy. And as you know, Gills exited that after a resounding defeat in the week to Wickham. I'll start with you, Mike. A competition that has very mixed reviews from fans. Some love it, some hate it, some like the fact that you get to see some youngsters. Some see it as the easiest route for a trip to Wembley. Where do you sit with the competition as a whole and Gills' exit at the group stage?
The competition as a whole, I think, is always, for me, just been a showcase for the younger talent to come through, showed what they could do against the Fulham under-21s. I've always been of the impression that it's not really one for the senior players. I mean, if the rules weren't the rules, then I'm sure we would field an entire team of younger prospects coming through. So that's how I think the competition should be. I would never get highly excited by a potential trip to Wembley for the Virtue Trophy. I don't think we'll ever get there. It's everybody just treats that competition pretty much the same. As for exiting, I'm absolutely fine with it. It's one less thing. It's one less fixture that we need to worry about, because the objective this season, isn't the Virtue Trophy. It is for League Two to get a good position. I know it's a 2-year project, etc. But the thing is, we're 4 points off top after a third of the season. I'd absolutely bite your hand off for that, and that is the objective this season for a bloody good showing in League Two this season.
And Chris, I'll come to you next. Out of the youngsters we saw, was there any standouts that you think are really pushing for at least a squad position? And also regarding the rotation, do you find it unfair sometimes on some of these squad players, not the kids, but your Marcus Wileys, who don't kick a ball for weeks and then are expected to go up front on their own and run around against a League One side when, like I said, hasn't kicked a ball for weeks?
Yeah, I think we've seen, like, with the likes of Logan Dobbs, with the likes of Stan Skipper, with them lads, they're coming through, they're doing well. You've got Cruz Besant as well, who's put in some good performances and also played in the league. It's a difficult one though, isn't it? Because when you're playing the likes of Wickham, who have got £1 million midfielders on the bench and £1 million players in the actual starting 11, they're not going to get a real good run out and a real good telling of their look, because they look so. And I mean, no disrespect to them, but they did look really out of sorts. They didn't. You can tell that they're not quite there yet with that. And with regards to the likes of Wiley for me has become a little bit of an enigma. He came in, he was low risk, but he's shown real good promise in certain games. Putting him against a League One side that have got a lot of first-team players in and around that squad, and he's up front on his own as well, so he's essentially pissing in the dark, isn't he? It's just the balls are trying to come up to him, they're not coming up to him. The only player that really did impress me, and I'm surprised he didn't start on Saturday, was Johnny Smith. The 45 minutes he had against Wickham was brilliant. And then he was on the bench on Saturday. So, yeah, it's a nothing cup for me. I think it's been ruined since we've had the under-21s of Premier Leagues come in. I don't think that it's very fair to a degree, although we did beat Fulham 4-1. So, but you've got players that are playing for some of these under-21s teams that are eventually going to be Premier League Championship players. So putting them up against our kids probably at the moment isn't a true reflection of where our lads are at.
And James, thank you for joining.
Good evening. Sorry about that.
That's all right, mate. Do you think Gills fans have the right to be annoyed that they don't at least get out of the group stage of this competition? Again, I get Mike's point of extra games, but again, if we're using kids, we're using squad players. Is it good to have an extra game so that your Marcus Wileys can get more of a run out? And are there any of the regular first team players that potentially could have benefited playing in these nothing games to score some goals, get some assists and get some form?
Yeah, I think it's a useful exercise. I think these games, because they've got more on them than a friendly, but there's still no pressure to perform really, to be honest. So I tend to treat them very much like a pre-season game or a friendly. Just get minutes in people's legs, bring people in to see what they can do. And I think the problem that we do have, and the problem for those players who would probably come in to try and impress people like Marcus Wiley, maybe, where the competition isn't necessarily taken that seriously, it's difficult for them to put a bit of a stamp on the game. But it is useful. They are useful. They're useful for fitness. There's certain players that it would have been really good to see the other night. I really would like to have seen Ewan Williams, who apparently is still 2 weeks away from what everyone says. I think they are. Yeah, it's the longest 2 weeks ever. But they are useful. They serve a purpose. We're not going to win the competition. I wouldn't want to see us try and win it really, because inevitably, if you try and win the competition, the league is going to suffer. Other areas are going to suffer, and to be quite frank, it's just not enough of enough of an attraction for me or for many Gills fans. But yeah, if we put our kids out and some fringe players and they do enough to get through, great. But if not, then take it for what it is. It's just they're just practice matches as far as I can tell. And that competition has always been a bit like that. And as Chris said, with the introduction of the under 21s, it's just got more and more like that. And I think that's it's only going to get more and more like that as it goes on, to be honest.
And a question to you all: if Brad and Shannon were to miraculously offer next season, we get our 2 home games, and they were free of charge, would you be more tempted to go because it was free, or would you still see it as a pointless trophy and we'd just sit at home and watch it on the TV?
No, pointless trophy. Sit and watch it on the TV.
Yeah,
it's not about the money at all.
No,
same.
But it's not for me, mate. It's not about money. Like, I'd happily pay the money to go and watch Gills all day long, but when you've literally getting 700-800 people, it's kind of telling, considering the average attendance at the moment is what, 6,500 for a league game. Getting 700-800 people, people think with their feet, you know, and with their asses, and they're not going to them games because they're nothings. I do think that potentially you could make something of that kind of trophy in a pre-season. I would like to see something like the Kent Cup be a pre-season tournament. I do understand and appreciate people's feelings that we do need better opponents. I mean, no disrespect to anyone in the Kent Cup, but you do need, you know, to get the players fit, you do need them kind of things. But if you could have a mixture of that where you had that kind of thing over, say, a month's period, much like a World Cup or much like a European Championships, where you could include, you know, teams from the Championship all the way down to League Two and maybe into National League, I think that would be an idea. But for me, it's just a total waste of time. Yes, the young lads get a run out, but who's to say they couldn't get a run out in pre-season?
Thank you very much. We will now move on to the injury list. The gaffer came out in the week and said that the 2 names on the screen are our only injured players at the moment. I'll come to you, James, first. We'll start with Ewan Williams, as you mentioned him. I think in pre-season he was the name that stood out as the shock when it came to contract renewals. What do you think he could add when he's back? Or do you think that he probably won't even get in the team? Or do you think it's getting to that point now, maybe come December, January, that we just maybe pay him up and say, thank you very much?
I mean, first of all, I don't really understand why he's been out for so long. Was it an arm? It was an arm injury, wasn't it? I thought he had an arm injury. Was that what it was?
Shoulder, yeah.
Shoulder.
So how as a footballer are you out for that long with part of your body you don't play football with? I know, you know, you got this, that, and the other, but we've seen players, you know, bandaged up their wrists. I can't remember who it was. Was it maybe Conor Marston a couple of seasons ago, played with a broken wrist? You know, how has he been out for so long with an arm injury? I don't understand that for a start. But benefit of the doubt, if he really, really is that bad, then, you know, that's fair enough. But I was surprised when he was given a contract. I was surprised when he dragged his feet on said contract. And he hasn't really covered himself in glory initially for me. And then this injury has kind of, it's a frustrating one. I think he's got something to offer. There's quite clearly a player there. But I don't know that he fits in anywhere, to be honest with you now, really, to be honest. I mean, bodies are always useful, but he's got a lot of catching up to do, let's put it that way. And he's got a lot to win people over, I think, as well.
Mike, I'll come to you regarding Conor Masterson. Obviously, we're going to talk about Saturday's game later on in the show, but how much did the goals that we concede show how badly we missed this guy?
In some way, yes, but when you think about the nature of the game, again, I'm not going to go too much into it because we'll cover it a bit later on. But given the nature of that game, it was more that the midfield was just being like bypassed. It was attack versus defence. You know, I think Conor is very much missed in general across all the games that he has missed. I think we do need that steadying influence at the back alongside Sam Gale. They would be my first two choices every time for that, because I just think that Shad is a little bit hot and cold kind of thing. Can make mistakes. So it'll be good for us to see how much more stable we are with Connor, because I know Sam Gale's already touched on that they're quite a solid defensive unit in general, but I think when a fit Connor Masterson and Sam Gale are at the back, we are going to be so solid, and I think that's going to be something to really look forward to as and when he does get back. He is a huge miss at the moment.
And Chris,
he's a real danger in the opposition box as well.
He is, yes.
So I was going to say he's a real danger in the opposition box as well, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
And Chris, I'll come to you on both. Obviously, once these two are finally fit, fingers crossed we have no more injuries until that moment. How important is it for the manager to have at last, come potentially December time, to have a fully fit squad to pick from coming up to that Christmas period?
I don't think it's vitally important that Ewan comes back, to be honest. The plethora of talent we appear to have in the middle, yes, okay, some injured at the moment. I think we're missing Amani quite deeply, to be fair. Ewan, we've not really seen him, mate, have we? Since he come in last season, like, he's been in and out for injuries. We see him for a couple of games and then he goes. So we can't really pass judgment on his actual skill as a player, apart from possibly that goal that he scored in pre-season last season when Max Clark put the ball in. We've not really been privy to that. So I don't think we miss him. I do definitely 100% think we miss Connor. He is the senior centre-back in our squad now. And it's no disrespect to Sam. It's no disrespect to Andy, and it's no disrespect to Shad. But it's glaringly obvious that, our defence have started leaking a few more goals since Connor's been out. And for me, he's a vital cog in that team. So the sooner we can get him back, mate, the better.
I mean, go back to what you were saying about like Ewan Williams. I mean, James says he hasn't covered himself in glory, but he hasn't even covered himself in mud either, has he? So,
or ice if you play in Newport.
He gets sent off against Swansea in the Carabao Cup last season. I think that's probably the highlight.
Oh, he did, didn't he? Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He did.
I think it's probably the highlight of his Gills career so far. And I mean,
halcyon days.
And we move on to some good news that came out of the club this week. We've offered 3 players new contracts, so I'll come to each of you for one of them. I'll start with you, Chris. You can take Stan Sargent. What have you made of him when you've seen him, and what do you think that he can bring to the squad in the years to come?
He just seems like he's switched on. I think that's probably his biggest quality. He's switched on. The amount of times we've seen him in the Virtue Trophy, and he's either scored a goal or he's there or thereabouts, or he's trying to make things happen. I think he's a really, really, really good young player. It's his first professional contract, and the pictures during the week, he was absolutely made up by it. I do think that if we nurture him in the right way, which I feel that Joe Dunn and that lot will do, then I think that we could potentially have a very, very good player. And I don't mean any disrespect to Joe Bodo when I say this, because they are very different players, although playing almost in the same position. But he just seems he's lightning quick. He just wants to be in and around it. He doesn't have that. He doesn't seem to have an attitude about him, which is always a good start, I guess. And yeah, he just seems, and it's very well deserved for me. I think I would like to see Cruz Besant probably get a 1-year deal, because I think he's been more in and around the first team squad than Stan has. But, the club's probably hedging their bets a little bit and being like, cool, we've got something on our hands here. If we don't snap him up now, someone else is going to come in and take him. So Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
Excellent. And James, I'll come to you. So shortly after Stan signed his, it was announced that Tate had signed an extension to his contract.
James's favourite position.
What are your thoughts on Tate as a whole? And as we know at this level, it's very rare at League Two level that you see a young goalkeeper be the number one for their team. You're more likely to see a goalkeeper of Tate's age probably play in the Premier League or in the Championship than in League Two. Yeah, what were your thoughts when we saw we'd given him a new deal?
I mean, yeah, it's positive. It's always nice to see young.
Oh, having some problems tonight, isn't he?
He's been a bit robot.
Have we lost it? Sanka, you dead, man.
I mean, that is a very unfortunate frame to freeze on, I'll be honest.
Oh, he might be back.
I mean, that's
the worst one.
Oh, Jesus. Sort your Wi-Fi out, son.
James, pay your Wi-Fi, mate.
Am I here? Have you got me?
You are here.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Resume.
It's good that he's got a deal. I think hopefully he can kick on and improve. He was simultaneously our best and worst player at times the other night in the trophy game. He looked really good at 1 minute, and the next minute he was absolutely terrifying. So he's still a young lad. He's got a lot to learn, but I don't think either Glenn or Jake, I must eat my words here, or Jake at the moment have got too much to worry about. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
And Mike, I'll leave the easy part to you.
Yes, get in there.
Obviously we extended Sam Gale's contract, and there wouldn't be one Gillingham fan that wouldn't have been happy with the news. Is it just the club protecting their assets? Is it the club rewarding performance? And I think I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. Is it getting to that stage now where we need to enjoy watching him play while he is here?
Yeah, 100%. I think with Sam Gale, I was so happy that I probably would let him touch my wife inappropriately. That kind of happiness, those kind of levels. So, Sam, if you're watching this, mate, get in touch. But yeah, it's very much. I mean, I've always said with Sam Gale since he started breaking through into the first team, we've got something special here. We've got something very, very special here, and that we do need to enjoy it while we've got it. Yes, he's signed a new contract. Do I think that he'll get to the end of that contract with us? No, I think somebody will absolutely snap him up before then. But it gives us such a good position of bargain when it comes to a potential move. And it will be a move that he absolutely deserves based on those performances, because he's not just been, a few little flashes in the pan like Joe Bode. Again, Joe, no disrespect, mate, but that's how it was. There were performances that were absolutely fantastic for him. But with Sam, it's consistently on the money. And even when he makes mistakes, he's got the pace to get back. He's got the potential to go all the way to Championship, Premiership. He's got that potential to go all the way there. And I think with the right guidance, I think he'll get there. And I'm just so made up that we've got that extra contract in now, because it means a lot for the club, and it means a lot for him as well. It's the faith that the club are putting into him. That's it's a big signal of the direction that we're going in general with young players at this club.
Yeah. No, I just want to just put a little thing out there that in no way, shape, or form on this channel do we condone sex trafficking. But
No, she's not going anywhere. She's staying at home. But yeah,
Sam could just pop round.
If Sam could just pop round, it's just a way of verbalising my happiness, Sam. Don't worry about that. Don't be scared, Sam.
I think back on the Sam Gale thing, I think it's just good to see the club doing this type of deal, because in the past we've we've been in this situation before, and players have gone, and you get the tribunals, and you don't get what they're worth. Where this way, I think, like you said, Mike, the ball is now firmly in our control when it comes to negotiating a fee when that time comes. And as you said, there won't be a Gills fan that won't wish him all the luck. And hopefully, if it does, and when it does happen, it can be one of those where he goes and he gets loaned straight back, and we can still have him in the team.
Yeah.
I think what's exciting about Sam. What's exciting about Sam is what do we all think he's worth like right now at the moment? What's Sam Gale worth?
5 million minimum.
I think I always think with League Two, you're never going to get, I think, what you think he's worth. You're going to get that in add-ons and stuff, and being a defender as well. You're not going to get the money of an attacking player. And if Bode went for reported, was it 300,000? Then you've got to at least be looking to close to doubling that. In my opinion, I'd say around about half a million, 600 with big add-ons.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just don't think you're going to get them. You're not going to get millions of pounds. Unfortunately, at League Two, I just can't see that you're going to get millions of pounds for a defender. That's why I think you get a lower fee, and it'll all be add-ons, and you'll probably get, if there was a Premier League team, for example, you'd end up getting a friendly against them, and it'd be stuff like that. I think, unfortunately, we're not going to get the millions. I hope I'm wrong, because obviously I'd love that to happen. I just think it'd be a reasonable fee with loads and loads of add-ons.
Yeah,
I
think maybe we've learnt from our mistakes. Well, I say we've learnt from our mistakes. Different owners now, but like with the Bradley Dack initial bid that came in that we rejected, and then we got a lower fee for him. So I think maybe tying him into that contract, and then if there is a minimum release clause in there, then But then again, a minimum release clause doesn't have to be accepted. Well, it has to be accepted by the club, but it doesn't have to be accepted by the player. So we will see. We will see.
Can we offer my wife as part of the deal?
Sorry?
Can we offer my wife as part of the deal? To keep it?
I don't know. I've got to be honest, I don't know what your wife looks like, so I can't put a value on her.
I'm not saying a word to that because I will get it.
As if Mike pans the camera and his missus is like sitting behind him.
Yeah, sitting there, her arms on it. This is not a cattle market, gentlemen. Right, anyway, so yeah, cheers for that, David. So I think we move on to the lineup, boys. So we started with Jake Turner in goal. We then had a back four of Max Clark, Andy Smith, Sam Gale and Romeo Hutton. We then had a middle two of Ethan Coleman and Robbie McKenzie. A three in front of them of McCleary, Bradley Dack and Nelson Kumbene. And one up front in Josh Andrews. There we are, boys. So I'll go with you first, James. And when the team news came out on Saturday, obviously it's very difficult these days to tell who's playing where, and it does take us 20 minutes to work that one out. Thanks for that, Jules. Well, what were your overriding thoughts on the 11?
Surprised. I did not see how that 11 was going to work, and looking at it now, seeing Kumbene at right wing, how it doesn't work. I think, you know, it was sort of looking at when you saw the players there. Kumbene's done well recently, and he deserved a place, but shoehorning him in was always going to be a thing there with that 11. So yeah, it was a strange one for me. I did my overriding thought was, how on earth are these 11 going to play together? I was pleased to see McCleary in there. That was really good, very positive. I couldn't really argue with any of the players who were picked, but where they were put into position and the formation that was played, that was where the real question marks were for me.
Yeah, and I think where Nelson played was a bit of a thing for me as well. I didn't see it like that to begin with. I thought that they'd play McCleary on one side, Dacky on another, and then three in the middle, but it didn't transpire that way, did it, Mike?
Not really, no. It's I mean, I look at that side and I just keep looking at Kumbene on the right-hand side. I mean, I probably would have put, like, you know, McKenzie in with the like a back five rather than a back four. Kambeni alongside Coleman, and then made some adjustments up the top. But the thing is, like, if anything, and I don't want to dig him out or anything like that, but when Kambeni's being picked ahead of Aaron Rowe, that obviously signaled that there's a bit of a problem there, kind of thing. He would have been probably a better fit for there, but obviously something is noticed on the training pitch and whatnot, that Aaron Rowe isn't a better option, like, to start that one, and that Kambeni's been shoehorned in there. It's just a strange one for me, really. That this is what we come out with. That I think I think we should have gone with Mackenzie dropping back into a five, Kambeni where Mackenzie was, and then like made some adjustments up the top to see what we can do on that front. But again, like the one up top, I know our options are very, very limited up top at the moment with Seb and Nevitt. Both suspended, weren't they? Both of them.
Yes, yeah, 7. Yeah, that was a weird one for me. I know. Nev was suspended, but I did hear like that Seb was as well, which is quite
Yeah. So I know our options were very limited up there, but it was just a bit of a strange one for me. It feels like square pegs in round holes. Yeah, in some cases. Yeah, especially for him. And I mean, without getting too much into the game, David, I mean, where we sit, and I think just Mike sits just along from us as well. I think they were shouting orders at Nelson at one point. And I think he just looked a bit confused as to where he was meant to be. Yeah,
no, I felt sorry for him, really. As I said, when I saw the lineup, the 11 players, I was more than happy with the 11 players. I think a bit like Mike, probably presumed Mackenzie would be in a back three. With Kambeni next to Coleman and maybe McCleary up top with Andrews. Again, in the week they played Smith up top with Andrews. So it wouldn't have been that much of a with Wiley. Sorry, so it wouldn't have been that much of a shock to have a wide player playing up front or even a diamond. But when they lined up like this, as I said, we're going to the game in a minute. But I completely felt sorry for him, and I've got to try and get my Elliot Nevitt in here because obviously he wasn't available to play. But it was a bit like him when you're playing a centre forward left wing. Now you've got a central midfielder at right wing. It's you're not giving these players a chance because they moved him around and eventually hooked him, and you could just see he wasn't comfortable there, and it kind of hampers the rest of the team, especially Hutton, when they don't really know what's going on in front of them. It just completely affects the team. See, I was not surprised by the 11, but completely surprised by the formation.
Yeah, no, definitely, boys. So obviously there is a game to talk about, as well as our Mike's wife and everything else. There was a game of football on Saturday. So looking at those stats, I think they definitely had better ball possession, didn't they, boys? So what we're going to do, because it was such an eventful game in two halves, we'll talk about the first half first and then the second half. So for me, the first half, they were the better team. They went through on goal, hit the post, hit the bar with Smith's deflection. And James, I'll go with you. I thought that the first half, I was like, bloody hell, we're in massive trouble here.
Yeah, we managed to make a team look like Barcelona, didn't we? They were passing through us. It was as if our midfield was completely not there. We were lucky not to be 3-0 down after about 20 minutes, to be honest with you. It was that sort of game. They really, really were unlucky, Crawley. If I was a neutral, I'd have felt very sorry for them. I think they played really well. They really blew us away. We didn't know how to handle them. And it was one-way traffic in the first half. You cannot argue that. They were far and away the better team, no doubt about that at all.
Yeah, and David, I'll go with you, mate. No, it was, wasn't it? Like, I was sat the bloke that I sit next to, and I kind of envied the amount of space that they had in the middle. Like, there was just no one there, and maybe that is, pays the whole thing where Kambeni was played out on the left, so therefore Coleman and Mackenzie were dropping deeper, leaving huge amounts of space, whereas Daki isn't naturally one to track back. Yeah, what were your thoughts on the centre of midfield really, and the game, the first half in itself? And we get to Dak in a minute, boys. So don't worry.
Yeah. For me, it was just we were just so open, and again, it was hard to gauge whether they were really good or our midfield have just got to that point now where at the start of the season we always were like, oh God, we've got all these central midfield players. Do we need all these central midfield players? And it's probably the first time in a long time now where I'm starting to feel that even someone like Robbie McKenzie looked very leggy and looked like he potentially needs a rest. Obviously, there's no one really to bring in for him. But yeah, I was surprised that they never thought of maybe bringing Kumbene back into the midfield in that first half, just to add an extra body in there, because we were getting completely overrun. Bear in mind, this was a team that were fourth bottom in the league, that were completely outplaying us in that first half. And like you said, they hit the woodwork a couple of times, and we just didn't look that threatening. And it did look like, again, we'll come on to the goal in a minute, but it did look like set pieces was the only way we were probably going to score in that first half. And yeah, in the end, it would be the way.
And lo and behold, on the 48th minute, I wasn't actually in the stadium at the time. I was trying to queue for my half-time refreshments, because in the Medway, as you know, Mike, as you know, David and James, potentially that you kind of have to queue early these days to actually get anywhere. And I missed a goal. I heard the cheer and I heard the song go up. People were going, "Have we scored? Have we scored?" I was like, "Yeah, we have." And I'm standing there quite annoyed that they still didn't have a steak pie when I got to the front. No, I'm not really. Don't like them pucker pies. They're absolutely terrible. But yeah, me and Warren caught it, although he caught me at the front of the queue. So yeah, there you go, Warren. Enjoy. I hope you enjoyed your beer, mate, and you got to see the goal. But yeah, Mike, we go with you in that absolutely amazingly well worked corner.
We're seeing it a bit more and more, aren't we, with Jules? That there are some routines that are, some of them are paying off as well. But we never really used to see too much of that, like say like 5-10 seasons ago, kind of thing. We're seeing a lot more sort of tactical now. It's about the set plays, and it's great to see that we're actually thinking about what we're doing rather than let's just put it in the box and hope someone gets their noddle on it. So it's very much, it's a delight to see when we see these things come off, and you can see how happy the players are when it comes off. I mean, Daki was like, absolutely made up, and everyone was just so overjoyed. And it's just nice to see that we're being a bit more sort of tactically putting a bit more thought into things.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. And James, I'll go with you with the goal as well, mate. Like, I think Daki has come under quite a lot of criticism since he's come back. Obviously, being injured, no fault of his own, of course. But I think when we do, Daki is one of them players of moments now at his age for us, and I definitely think that was a moment. I don't think any other player on that field would have scored that goal. Do you?
Agreed. Yeah, I think up to that moment, I don't think he'd had a good game at all. He looked, as Dave said, he looked like one of the players who was quite leggy. He seemed to be a bit behind the pace. He wasn't getting to the ball quickly enough. Wasn't picking up second balls, and I did think he was having a bit of a poor game. But like you quite rightly say, he has got so much quality in his locker, and it was a great finish. It really was. Well worked, as Mike said. Well taken routine, but he's still got a hell of a lot to do, and he really did put it away nicely. And yeah, you're absolutely right. I'm not sure there's anyone else in our squad can do that, to be honest. I think Dak's got that in his locker where he can just pull one out the bag. And you're quite right, Chris. He is going to be a moments player for us. But I think we kind of knew that when we signed him. I don't think anyone was under any impression that he would be running for the whole season, and he'd have a hell of an engine on him. But I don't think that's what we've got him for. We've got him for those moments of magic. If he does nothing all game, but he sticks one of those in the top corner every other week, you're quite happy with that, I think, really, to be honest with you. And I think he's got that in his locker, which is great to see.
Yeah, and David, yourself, obviously, you sit 2 blocks down from me, mate. So you were closer to it. And what was the atmosphere like when it went in? Because obviously I didn't see it because I was trying to get something to drink.
Oh, it was brilliant. It's always nice to see a good goal as well, and a nicely worked routine, because they do look like they do put a lot of effort in on the corners, less so on the monotonous long throws that we keep throwing in. They should work on some throwing routines. But no, it's really good, and it was hard to work out who was celebrating more, the players or the bench. Bench were over the moon, and a couple of the players ran over to the bench as well. I don't know who they went over to. I couldn't quite see from where I was sitting. But yeah, they were over the moon, and I think there's a really good still that I saw someone put on Twitter of the moment that Dak hits the ball, and I know they say they all know where the goal is, but he's not even looking at the goal, and it's just such a sweet hit. And as I say, it's always the best time to score, especially in a half where we were probably lucky to be ahead come half time, and we were all probably hoping that we would build on that come the second half.
Yeah, we were definitely lucky. I mean, as I say, I was sitting there like, oh god, we're in trouble here. Kind of reminds me of that meme from Simpsons where he's literally sat on the bus going, I'm in danger. That's kind of how I felt on Saturday in the first half. But so we move on to the second half, and quite a few contentious issues to discuss for the second half. We will start with the offside. I do have a still of it, and people have said to me, I think maybe it was Max Clark, maybe, I don't know why it was called. I don't agree with it. I don't think that it was the right decision, but I do have, if I can find it. So this is the moment that it left Max Clark's boot. Okay. Just literally about a millisecond before the ref put the flag up. For me, it's Robbie McKenzie here that's offside. If you're pushing it, it's a reach. If we are going that it was offside, it's a reach. But it seems to me that he could be potentially the only player that could be offside. So, Mike, your thoughts on it?
Sorry, I was too busy staring at it. I mean, I was saying earlier on that if the offside was given against Max Clark, number one, the ball's gone backwards. They can't give offside for that. Yeah. Also, Lino probably wouldn't have bothered getting into position if he knew that they was going to flag offside for Clark. I mean, Robbie, again, I don't think he was too much. I don't think he was going for it that much to be flagged offside. It has to be against, either Andy Smith or Bradley Dack. If you're going to sort of flag for anyone at all, because they would have been the two that would have gone for it. I just think that the Linos had a bit of a moment's indecision, and he's just gone for the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
James, I think as well, mate, because if you do roll that forward slightly, literally in the next frame is when his flag goes up. If you're looking across that line here, you're looking across the line to the referee's, the lino's right, okay? Like the line in the grass literally goes straight through the penalty box. For me, I don't think he's in any position to give an offside, regardless of if a player is offside or not, because he's not in line. He's not necessarily in line to see if Robbie, Dacky, Andy, or even Andrews would be offside potentially, is he?
Just to give him the benefit of the doubt for a second, we've got a freeze frame on here, and even we can't categorically say that absolutely no offside. So obviously the linesman got to make a split-second decision. I sit in the rain man behind the goal, and my first thought, obviously I'm not even close to being in line, but when Dak seemed to get away so easily and there was no one near him, my first thought was that's going to be offside. It looked too easy. The goal was too easy. And I think that's factored into the linesman's mind as well. I think he's thought not a single Crawley player has got anywhere near it. He's almost, maybe he just hasn't even seen that Crawley player between Dak and McKenzie. I don't know, because if you take him out of the equation, then it's really offside. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I've got sympathy with the linesman, definitely. But ultimately, when you get right down to it, it's a bit of a poor decision. As you quite rightly say, Mike, Robbie's nowhere near the ball. When you think about where Dak is now, that's where the ball's going to land pretty much on the penalty spot. That Robbie McKenzie's nowhere near it. Daki's not even close to being offside from what we can see there. And so, yeah, when you get right down to it, it's a poor decision. So yeah, but I again, as with VAR, I've got sympathy with the officials because they don't get to see this freeze frame and rewind that we all get to see and pour over for minutes and minutes on end. So
It's a tough job.
It's a tough job. It's a tough job. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And David, your thoughts on it, mate?
So from where we sit in the Medway stand, obviously we could see that the flag went up as soon as Clark crossed it. So again, my first instinct was, mate, Clark must be the person that's offside. But since then, we've been told that it's probably not Clark that's been flagged offside, and it's Dak. My issue that I have with it, especially now seeing this still, is in what was it, the 80th minute when Josh Andrews chased that ball all the way down to the corner flag at full pace. But then he stopped the ball, and then the linesman flagged.
Yeah.
Why did he flag straight away as soon as Max Clark crosses the ball? He didn't know who was going to get on the end of it. Why did he flag so early here, but not in the 80th minute when Josh Andrews was chasing a lost cause and could have got injured running and pulled a hamstring or something? It's just, I think he's got it wrong. But I think he's just had a moment and probably thought it was 5 years ago when you flag instantly. And yeah, I think he's just got it really wrong. Unless there's something that we don't know as to why this offside was given. It looks like he's just had a bad one.
You're never going to get an explanation, though, are you? They're not going to justify themselves.
Well, no. But then I spoke to Scott Lindsay in the factory at full time, and he said, "Oh yeah, but then this decision," and it was a good discussion, but it was also a deflection at the same time. So, but yeah, I don't think it wasn't. It wasn't. I don't care. Even if I was a neutral and I wasn't a Gills fan, that is not for me an offside, because that is the point where Max touches the ball. Surely the rule is where the players are in situation to when the player kicks the ball. So it can't.
And the ball goes forward.
Yeah.
We've also lost that benefit of the doubt to the attacker as well, haven't we? That seems to have gone out the window for me since VAR came in. That's really gone, and that's a real shame, because I think that was always a good sort of jumping off point to give the benefit of the doubt to the attacking team.
Yeah, but this is League Two football, and nothing ever surprises us anymore, boys, does it really? So we will quickly go back to the second half, and without the graphic. I thought that's quite a nice graphic, actually. But yeah, so it then transpired that we did get a penalty. David, I'll go with you. Do you think that it was the referee potentially making up for the bad decision with the offside? Because I've watched that penalty shout back multiple times, and for me, that is no way a penalty. Like, the player dives down, his arm isn't in an unnatural position. He's got his arm to his chest, maybe a little bit like this, but it hits him in the midriff / elbow, and then it's given a penalty. So what were your thoughts on the pen?
And again, from where we sit, you couldn't really see from where we were sitting. You kind of guessed what had probably happened, but it wasn't until I got home and you see it back that I have issues with these ones that are hit that hard from such a range that it's so difficult. But the ref did give it pretty quickly. So didn't give himself time to think. Didn't look like there was any communication with the linesman to see if it was correct, if the arm was in an unnatural position. It did seem to be given very quickly. But other than that, I was more impressed with how quickly we bounced back after conceding. It's not a trait that I think comes natural to us. You very rarely see it. Again, I'm probably going to get corrected. Someone will find an example, but it's very rarely that you see us concede and almost go straight down the other end, and we're back in the game. And again, when that goal goes in, your hopes are up that we're gonna hang on for the rest of the game, and it didn't transpire that way. I don't know if you want me to go on for the rest of the game or just talk about the penalty.
Yeah, no, the rest of the game, mate, as well. Yeah, the pen, rest of the game, just go for that, and then we go with James after, mate.
Sure. Yeah. I was saying to Mike before we went live, I felt like when I left the game and then checked social media, it felt like I watched a completely different game to a lot of other people. I was really disappointed with how we played, and I thought for large portions of the game, I thought we were second best, and yeah, for me, it definitely felt like 2 points dropped, and especially you look at their second goal, how easy it was, and the Gills will never ever score a goal like that. You just don't see us do that to teams, and it's frustrating. I was saying to my dad when I left, I was saying if Scott Lindsay was our manager with these players playing how he played for Crawley, our players would not be able to do that, and I don't think it's the way they're coached, because it's been a few managers now where we don't score those types of goals and we don't play that way. That even I said fourth bottom completely outplayed us for large portions of the game. And yeah, we got a point at the end. For me, when you look at the results in the division that day as well, we could have gone fourth, I think, or fifth in the end. It felt for me definitely 2 points dropped, and I know I'm in the minority, but I was quite disappointed with the performance and the result on Saturday.
Yeah, David, do you mean we never score goals like that as in the Shamanga goal?
The Shamanga goal, yeah. The way that they just, a few passes, they're in behind, cut back across and tap in. It was just the whole build-up.
We have once this season. Against Chesterfield. No, against Chesterfield, yeah, when Nelson crossed it in and Wiley scored. That was a similar goal. So
yeah.
I'll let you have one. But yeah, it's more the pace of the passing and the goal that our passing always comes across very pedestrian and just not the quick intricate passing that the opposition always seem to be able to play against us.
Yeah, and James, your thoughts on the pen? Was it a pen? Was it not? And your thoughts on the remainder of the second half?
It was one of those penalties that, as a fan, you absolutely scream for it with absolutely no expectation whatsoever of getting awarded, which was what we all did. And when the referee pointed to the spot, I think we were as surprised as anyone. I took a little look at Max Clark as well, and he had that little look on his face where even he was really surprised it was given. So, yeah, I mean, you could argue that the ball's hit him, but like Dave says, at such a pace from such an angle, it's really unfair. I said to my dad, I said, that's really harsh. Well, I'll take it, but it's really harsh. But I will say, again, we did that thing with the penalty where we shielded the penalty taker. I really like that. It looked for all the world like Dak was going to take it, and then he handed it off to Robbie McKenzie, who really stuck it away nicely. So, yeah, no gripes at all with that. That was really good. And then I'm going to be in complete agreement with Dave. I thought we were poor second half as well. Better than the first half, absolutely, in that we actually looked like we might, we could score goals ourselves and we actually had some attacking threat. But we were still carved open countless times. There was so much space for them in the midfield. They were quite clearly very comfortable on the ball and a good passing side. And yet we let them do that. We gave them space to do it. That's the one big difference between that and our best performance of the season for me, which was Chesterfield at home. We touched on it already. We were constant. I know Chesterfield weren't really that great that night, but we were constantly in their faces. We didn't give them a moment to settle. We were on them all the time from the minute the ball was passed out from the goalkeeper, and we just did not do that against Crawley on the weekend. And I think it played into their hands. Lindsay would have been rubbing his hands to see the amount of space that his players were given, and they are absolutely in a false position. They will not finish where they are now. They will do all right. They really will. They're a decent side, and I know we made them look good, but they are a decent side. But yeah, I think it's 2 points dropped. When we went 2-1 up with half hour to go, I again said to my dad, we need another one here. There's no way they're not going to score again. And sure enough, I was just happy we hung for the point at the end, because I think if anyone was going to go on and win it, it was going to be them, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, and to be fair, I think they're probably the best team that have come to Priestfield this season. Probably close second would be Salford. And they are, as you say, James, in an absolute false position, because I was really impressed by them. Like they just moved the ball so fluidly. They were, quick in transition. And it was just they did at times make up, like you said earlier. We made them look like prime Barcelona because they were just absolutely everywhere. Which is testament to Crawley and their fans and Scott Lindsay. Absolutely fantastic, and take my hats off to them.
Yeah.
For me, it was a good point if you put it into context of that. It was definitely a good point. So yeah, Mike, your views on the penalty? It was probably a penalty for you, wasn't it, mate?
No, absolutely not. It was one of those things that when it happened, I was like, "What? Really? Is it okay? Okay, fine. We'll take it. Yeah. But as you've rightly pointed out, the arm's not in an unnatural position. It's hit his midriff and a bit of his elbow. I think they can really feel hard done by on that one. I even said I'd be absolutely fuming if that was given against. But in terms of the game itself, I mean, we speak very highly about Crawley and that they're in a false position and everything like that. How much of that is they are that good, and how much of it is that we made them look that good? That's the debate in my mind. Because as we said, I mean, let's get one thing straight. It was a fantastic advert for League Two football for the neutrals. It was absolutely crap for my heart rate and my blood pressure, but it was absolutely fantastic for advert for League Two football.
It was.
Where it's just plain and simple attack versus defence. Even though I mean we talk about like how poor we were or whatever kind of thing, but when I look at the opportunities that each team has had, we had some really good opportunities within that. I don't think if we played that poorly, we even would have had that. I think a lot of Crawley's opportunities we dealt with quite soundly. Of course, the keeper Jake Turner was called upon a number of times to keep us in it. But I mean, when you look at how many passes that Crawley had and everything like that, I think in the middle of the park, I think absolutely Crawley had the better team. But the one thing that stood out to me was how much, and this isn't only in the case of Crawley, this is nearly every team that we play against, that when they come down the wing and we're backing off and we're backing off and we're backing off, and then all of a sudden the ball's in a dangerous area where it hasn't, where we've been too afraid to make the commitment and get a standing tackle in or whatever kind of thing. The thing is, we don't do that up the other end. We haven't really seen much of any player go at somebody's fullback and take it. I mean, we see shades of it from Hutton maybe, but we don't see enough of it from our team in general, where we make them afraid to make the challenge. We don't make them back up. Because that's the reason why we don't get the goals like Shamanga, is because we don't get ourselves in those positions where we can put the fear into the defence that Christ, he's running at me kind of thing. So we're not going to get those opportunities. So that's how I feel about the contrast in the attacking play, that they made great use of their wing play and passing it through to get into those positions. But we just weren't. We just don't do that, and it's a damn shame, because we're always talking about we need pace, we need better out wide in terms of the tempo, but we're just not doing it still. That's my overriding observation of the contrasting styles of play.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question, Chris?
Go on.
One of my pet peeves. People are going to think that I'm just a serial moaner, but what are you?
It's either you or Warren.
What are your guys' thoughts on triple substitutions? Because for me, it's so infuriating. It kills all momentum, and you spend 5 or 10 minutes, everyone trying to work out what's going on, and I felt that the triple substitution at the weekend cost us dearly.
Yeah. No, I have to agree, mate. I think we had some modicum of momentum in that second half, and then when we brought the 3 on at the same time, it you know, you could see that certain players were kind of dead on the leg side. Do understand the substitution, but at the same time, we were doing all right, and then it just kind of killed us, didn't it? Bringing the 3 on at the same time. I've always been. I like the progressive type game where you bring subs on like one at a time here and there. You know, build up to what you want to be.
Ease them in.
Your final product. But yeah, bringing all 3 on at the same time, for me, it just killed it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think with, I remember seeing in one of the WhatsApp groups that I'm in, there was someone saying, like, you know, at halftime when we're 1-0 up as well, he's saying, I'd make a few changes now. I'm thinking, why would you do that? Why would you make, like, you know, a few changes, like, you know, making the subs then? It makes no sense whatsoever because, like, you know, we've got the lead in the game. Yeah, we weren't great, you know, in getting to that point. But the thing is, like, we were starting to get into the game. We were starting to get that momentum going. It's a shame that, you know, half-time came when it did because I think, you know, we were really starting to make some decent progress and get into the game because, like, there was a period of time in that first half where, you know, Crawley Town were pulling our shorts down and running around the back kind of thing, you know. So
you're on fire tonight.
And, we're not going to go back to Mike's wife at this point.
No. You know, this is purely bloke shorts coming down, not my wife's. But yeah, and then you think, well, when you do a triple substitution, like the mentality is kind of like you've got 3 players trying to sort of ease themselves into the game, trying to figure it out and everything like that without being on there for that time. Because, you know, you can watch a game as much as you like, but until you're actually on there, you don't know how it's all going to pan out. But of course, like with the sort of movements of Kumbeni here, there, and everywhere, you know, even if you started the game, it was going to be confusing, wasn't it? So it's really difficult to do a triple substitution and expect you know, momentum to continue.
I also think as well that all 3 looked quite rusty as well. I think Johnny Smith obviously had a couple of forays. There was that one right at the end when he pulled the ball back to nobody at all. Aaron Rowe just had this. Aaron Rowe bizarrely just wasn't running from what I could see, and Sam Vokes. I might be being a bit harsh here, but I think he's gone a bit backwards since he joined us, to be honest. I know he hasn't featured a great deal, but he's looked less and less dangerous every minute he's played, I think, to be honest.
He's lacking sharpness. I think that's what it is. He's lacking in, like, you know, game sharpness in terms of, like, the mind, I suppose. Like, you know, when you're sort of constantly around those situations in a competitive game, that sharpens your sort of mentality and you're always on it. I think he was caught a little bit on his heels a little bit, you know, with the game. I mean, Aaron Rowe, I've said this every time that like he just gives silly fouls away. I mean, on the surface like this, like we had, like it was quite slick. I'm going to moan about the pitch now. Buckle down, boys. We're getting ready. Here we go. When you've got a pitch as slick as that, the last player that you need is someone who does a load of tricking, because I reckon Aaron Rowe will lose that ball every single time. He will lose it every single time because, like, you know, the pitch is slick. The ball's going to get away from him. And then when you haven't got those, when you haven't got that, you've got to have something else about you. Yeah. And, you know, for me, it's just not that. I don't know. I want to see more out of Aaron Rowe. I want to see a hell of a lot more out of him. You know, beyond the tricks, like just stop giving away.
We've got one in our squad.
Say again.
We've got one in our squad, but we're not using him. We've got one in our squad, but we're not using him. Lenny Serino. Yeah. Where is Lenny Serino?
Yeah. I mean, I think Max Clark is absolutely solid at the moment, right? Okay, it's going to be hard to oust Max Clark at the moment, you know, from his position. Do I think Lenny Serino playing a bit further up? I can see a case for it. Yeah, definitely. I could see probably a better case for it than Kumbeni on the right, kind of thing, you know. So even if Lenny Serino did an inverted, like, you know, winger, I know Chris hates them, but, you know, I could probably see more of a case for that than Kumbeni on the right-hand side, kind of thing.
Yeah, but then to be fair, I do want to have a special mention to Gareth McCleary on Saturday. Right?
Yes,
time and time again, at 38 years old, the pace, the absolute blistering
Yeah,
pace
yeah.
that man still has. Right, and the bloke that I sit next to, I was like, Jesus Christ, he's the same age as me, man. I could barely run a bath. Like he was literally just like, there was one in the second half. He was running after a player, and he was just like the speed on him, and I was like, Jesus.
Yeah.
And he's literally just come back from injury as well. So I honestly think if we could have a Johnny Smith, Gareth McCleary partnership on the wings, with maybe a one up front or a 2 up front, I think it would just breathe new life into this squad if we can get that going on a consistent basis. I really do think that we will then become that team, as you spoke about earlier, where the players will back off and they wouldn't want us to come towards them, because you've got 2 players on each, a player on each wing that are going to be absolutely phenomenal.
I think that would be great as a 4-4-2. I think that would be fantastic within a 4-4-2, definitely.
Yeah. Anything else on the game itself, boys, before we move on to our man of the matches?
Only just one thing. I think like one thing that we didn't talk about was with the Andrews shout, where he was having his shirt taken off him.
Oh yeah, he does that every week though, doesn't it? It never seems to get bloody pulled up.
Well, exactly that. But you've seen them give them before, and when it comes to referee decisions, they've all got to be based on their own sort of each individual situation, based on their own like circumstances.
Yeah.
However, when you take a look at the things that were given in that game and whatnot, I think that if we didn't have that penalty in the game for the alleged handball, and we're going to put that in inverted commas because it definitely wasn't, I think we may have like had a case for the penalty for Andrews. I know we say we never see it, but we definitely wouldn't have seen it as we got that penalty shout before. I think the referee saw it, and I reckon he probably bottled it because he thought, if I give that as well, there's going to be blood.
Yeah. Fair. Right, so we will quickly touch on Phil's faults and then man of the matches.
But as games go, that was quite a watch. It was end to end, and we should have won. We really should have won. We really need to work hard to make Priestfield a fortress again. And ultimately, we dropped 2 points, and that could come back to bite us on the bum at the end of the season. Still, up the Gills!
There we go. So we're going man of the matches, and James, we will go for you first, mate. Hello. Someone coming downstairs there.
Christmas decorations going up.
Sorry, will you whisper in front of the steps?
Oh God! It's the wife episode tonight.
Hello, James's wife.
I'm getting told off.
So, James, we will go with you and your best friend Jake Turner.
Yeah, I've got some humble pie to eat here. I've been to court Jake, but I think since Glenn Morris went out injured, he's not put a foot wrong, to be fair to him. And I thought he was fantastic on Saturday. He really, really played well. Made a save early doors, which you probably would expect him to make, but he started to make it, and it was a really good save. And yeah, I think it's quite clear to see that he's just needed some time. He needed some confidence, and I think now that that's starting to be bred into him, he's playing really well, and we're seeing the rewards from that. So yeah, hats off to him. He's done really, really well.
There we go, mate. There we go. So we will then quickly touch on Mike, and you've gone for Jake Turner as well. Your reasons as to why?
First of all, is that really a picture of him? How long is that neck?
What?
That's well long, that is. No wonder he keeps stopping shots.
You know what? The boys had a good couple of weeks, and all you can worry about is the length of his neck. I'll tell you what, it's probably been knocked down a couple of pegs after that ball he got smacked into his face on Saturday.
Oh, exactly, yeah. But, I mean, similar to James, I've been very critical of Turner and the confidence that he has given me when he's between the sticks. Absolutely, there's nothing he could have done for those goals. Let's get that, first and foremost. There's absolutely nothing he could have done, but the saves that he had, his kicking was so much better than it has been, and I think that's been one of the major criticisms quite consistently during his time with the Gills. That his kicking's always been a little bit wayward, and also sometimes when he takes a bit too much time on the ball, and that worries me as well when the player's closing him down at the speed of light. But absolutely fantastic, turnout for him. Honourable mention to Max Clark as well. I mean, the thing is, like, when we were at the beginning of this season, and I was talking about the sort of areas that we needed to get some kind of improvement in, and like the first thing is, like, we needed competition for Max Clark, to push him, to get better performances out of him, to make sure that he maintains his spot. Well, let's put it this way: like, Max Clark has been playing very, very solidly at the moment. Turner, again, I said we probably need another keeper, because, like, we're not going to have Glenn forever, and Turner doesn't fill me full of confidence when he's between the sticks, because he has his moments where there's a couple of poor decisions in there or whatever. But for him to the last couple of games that he's had, he's actually been pretty good. So I'm happy to see that if he gets a run in the team, that he gets that confidence, he starts getting that sharpness, so that he's not just thrown in and like he was when Morris got injured. So long may that continue. That the two areas I was like, we must improve in those areas, that we're actually making improvements with existing players.
There we go. Right. So what we need you to do now is massively criticise the pace in midfield. And the rate of goal scoring chances we create, and then next time we come on, mate, we're looking at a 7-0 win. Yeah.
Can I not just put it into one sentence and, like, you're shit and you are, or something like that?
No, we like to be constructive on this show.
All right, then. Okay.
Even if certain viewers and certain people that follow the account seem to think that we're bashing people all the time.
I was just looking for the easiest route to achieve that.
Okay.
So
yeah. Anyway, David, we'll touch you, mate, and you've also gone for Jake Turner. Your reasons as to why?
I'm going to keep it pretty brief. We would have lost that game without him.
100%.
Yeah. There we go. Bloody hell, that was brief. I'm not expecting that. So
if I talk too long, I become negative.
He was very good, but everyone else was rude. Anyway, it's usually the other way around, isn't it? Anyway, did Jake Turner get a full house? Did he? Of course he did. Yeah. I'm very critical of Jake. I don't know if any of you know that. It might come as a bit of a surprise to a few people.
Really?
But and I have given him a bashing. But then again, when you give people bashings, it has to be balanced, and you have to praise them when they've done well. He isn't a scapegoat for me. I've never ever made him a scapegoat. I've never made any player a scapegoat. I've only ever seen it for what I see on the pitch. If you're playing very well, I will praise you. If you're playing rubbish, I will criticise the crap out of you. So, he was. And as David said, if it wasn't for Jake on Saturday, we would have lost that game. So it's as simple as that. And well done, mate. And Jake, long may it continue. I really do hope it continues. So do we want to quickly have a little go on our Guess Who before we get to the little situation of a look ahead? So Mike's got his hand up like a good little school child, so we go with you.
Andy Barcham.
James.
The Scunthorpe gave it away for Andy Barcham for me.
Not the Tottenham or Portsmouth. David.
Nice.
Yep, Andy Barcham.
There we go. So it is this week. It is Andy Barcham. One of my favourites.
What a player he was.
But he was a very, very good player.
Quality.
We talk about wingers making them scared, making like fullbacks back off. That was him. That that player.
Yep. So Bex has also put earlier on at 6 minutes past. She put going with Andy Barcham for my guess this week. Could be terribly wrong. Well, he wasn't terribly wrong, but
you were terribly right.
You were terribly right. There we go. So we'll have a quick look ahead to Barnet on Saturday. We've drawn, lost, won, drawn, and Barnet have won, lost, drawn. So your hopes and aspirations for Saturday, David?
Got to be looking to win. this run. Take Gareth's situation out of it. This run's not good enough at the moment. We need, was it 1 win in 6 or 7 league games? It is not good enough. We're lucky that the rest of the teams at the top don't seem to want to get promoted or pull away. That they've kept us in it. But I think it's now that point. I think it's either the last show or the show before. I was getting to the must win point, and they did that at Bristol. And I think now they need to get back on the horse and win this one, because they've got some on paper winnable games coming up, and they need to win this one.
Yeah, and James, yourself, your hopes and aspirations for Saturday?
Yeah, same as David. I think the bigger issue for me, not just the poor run we're on, but the poor run, crucially at Priestfield, is not good at all. And I think we really need to break that hoodoo in particular, because that is traditionally our strength is how our performances at home, and they just have not been there recently. So, yeah, I really think we need to get back on horse and put someone to the sword. I really like to see us thump somebody, and hopefully that can be this weekend.
Hopefully it can be Barnet. Yeah, and Mike, quickly, your hopes and aspirations for the 12:30 kickoff, guys. Don't forget that.
All right, keeping Sam Go away from my wife unless we win. That's the first hope. I mean, seriously, League Two's mad this year, really, isn't it? It's absolutely mad. Anybody can beat anybody. We've seen it like right across the board. As Dave says, like nobody wants to get promoted. My hope is that we like just have a really, really good performance and 3 points. I think anything else outside of that, is optional for me. I just want us to play well, be consistent, have a lot of the ball, score goals, win the game. I'll tell you what, I'd even take a 1-0, like a boring 1-0. I'd absolutely take that, because it's the points on the board that matter the most. And I think most Gills fans will be kind of like, look, on the kind of form that we're on, a 1-0 will absolutely be fine as dandy. Like it really will.
Yeah. And to be fair, mate, I think I'd be happy, 91st minute, Josh Andrews header, or just a little poke in, a little goal line scuffle or something like that. Or maybe Jake Turner coming up for a corner and putting a header in. Jesus Christ, I think
He's got a neck for it, hasn't he? He's got a neck for it. He's got a good 2 foot on everybody else. He might as well get
halfway line.
I never noticed that before.
Oh, God. Anyway, Jake is a lovely bloke, to be fair. He is a lovely bloke. Like, I spoke to him quite a lot at the Player of the Year Awards, so he is a nice bloke.
Yeah, fair play to you, Jake.
I've had issues with the way that he plays, but the last 2 games have been brilliant, and I think James is of the same opinion as me. So, so that's it, boys. So we will quickly have a look at our sponsors and partners. So obviously we are sponsored by Solders Shoes Car Sales and Service Station and Wicked Creative. And in partnership with Gillingham FC Supporters Club, that if you can see at the bottom of the ticker at the bottom, if you go onto their website now and want to sign up, then you can do so by putting a promo code TVFTM, and it will give you 10% off of your membership there. We're also in partnership with Her Game 2 and Sports Social Podcast Network. And that's pretty much us for the evening, I think. About an hour and 20 minutes. How do you speak about an hour and a half's worth of football in an hour and 20-minute podcast?
Waffle.
Yeah, but it's all good fun and games, isn't it, boys? So before we go, any housekeeping, anything that anyone wants to add? And I'll go with you, David.
No, but my hopes and dreams is that 1 week I will be positive, and that will be after Barnet.
There we go. And James, yourself?
Same. Just let's break this hoodoo. Let's get the win on Saturday, and we go from there.
Yeah, and Mike, yourself, mate.
Keep it up, Jake the Giraffe.
Jake the Giraffe. You've got some next, mate.
we got some comments. One from David's dad, actually. Can someone please mention Turner's performance? It's a family affair tonight.
We spent half the podcast talking about him.
I know.
Jesus Christ.
Can never keep him happy.
It was a comment before we did the man of the matches, though.
I can see where you get it from now.
Yep.
I
know. We've also got where we got Richard. Yeah, it's always nice to have a little bit of balance.
Cheers, Richard.
Yeah, he's got a feeling we lose.
Warren's predicted 2-0 Barnet.
Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he? Yeah, Richard's also put Turner man of the match, of course. There we go. And
Right,
John
I thought he was
put-
just claiming that it was his mom.
We've
I
got
thought it was
that
another
bloody
female
good
getting the
wife,
job.
so, you know, we could make a sitcom out of that. So John's put great show as always. Cheers, John. So yeah. Anyway, with that, I think we're at the end, boys. So yeah, I'll try and find the outro. So yeah, I've been Chris. He's been Mike. He's been James. He's been David. Good night, and up the Jills.
The view from the Medway.